So, two things that I recommend to anybody who wants to get familiar with Bookbub click ads and what works and what doesn't work is to follow Bookbub's feature deal emails in your category and pay attention to the ads that come through. And also be sure you get emails from the Bookbub Partners blog. They are always extremely useful. And keep in mind that Bookbub has so much data so that when they say that something works, they truly do know what they're talking about. So what I want to go over today are the ads that Bookbub, according to their partners blog, has called the best ads of 2020. And my plan is to just look through these and we can talk about the things that work, the ideas that you might be able to translate into your ads, and so on. All right. So these we can see they're really well branded, right? They give a kind of a flow, right? They almost tell a story. Here's the one for the pre-order coming. Here's the new release. Here is where you can buy it. And so readers get a little bit more familiar. So that's something that you can think about, is bringing a sense of branding across all of your Bookbub ads. This one here, the sauce one, is actually, it looks like it's used or it's made using Bookbub's template. So it doesn't have to be really, really complicated. It looks here like their graphic came straight from the book cover. Here, the background's just a black box. So for those of you who are like me and don't have a fabulous eye for design or just don't like to make design and spend a ton of time on it, I hope this shows you, like, especially using the background as well as the book cover, that can often turn into a really good technique. And as we see here, makes it really well branded. I like here how they've got the 5 stars. That is for sure a real eye-catchy way to do it. They've got the series here too with the little banner that says series complete. That's a huge key for Bookbub readers. And they are showing here that book 1 is free. And so you can see there's real high click-through rate according to Bookbub and why they've called this profitable. 5.5% click-through rate is really good. And I'm going to guess that if this free wasn't right here, but everything else was exactly the same, the click-through rate would be quite a lot lower. So something to keep in mind. Bookbub readers do like free and cheap if you've got it, and they love series. Alrighty, this one is a little bit cluttered, so that would be the one thing to kind of look out for, but they have a lot of buzz around it, right? They've got things from Entertainment Weekly, Vogue, Huffington Post, and to be honest, like if I had blurbs from all of those places, I would for sure throw it on there as well, cluttered or not. This is kind of nice. This is like a straight up using their built-in template. It's simple. It's got the most simple call to action you can get, read now, and seems to be doing well. So don't worry about always having to come up with new. Sometimes just using the straight up template, it's good enough. It also makes it look a little bit more like there's Bookbub and their seal of approval on here because readers get familiar with this template. All right, these are some cool action shots. This is a good reminder that you do not need your book cover, and creating a sense of urgency here is super smart. Free this week only. So not only do they have the free, but there's definitely the sense of you don't want to miss out. Certainly explains their really high click-through rate of 14%. A great reminder that you do not need a book cover. You know, these action shots definitely convey the genre. These don't have to specifically be scenes from the book, right? Like this author doesn't necessarily have to have a horned alien holding a gun while a guy in a black cape shoots at him with a redhead woman behind him, right? That might be, but it's more about what the image is conveying here. If you write romance, it's real simple, right? Let me scroll back up a couple, right? That's very, very easy. Another real quick takeaway for romance is pay attention to your image and the heat level it portrays. This portrays a more steamy Whereas, two people just kind of in a cuddly, standing up kind of thing might be more cozy and sweet. So that's something you can pay attention to. All right. This is a pretty tried and true formula for your text. So this one says Jack Reacher meets Sons of Anarchy. And so people who are in this person's target audience are going to know who Jack Reacher is. They're going to know what Sons of Anarchy is. That's the one I don't recognize. But this author's audience will know what Sons of Anarchy is. I see the sci-fi we saw up here did it too. The Mandalorian meets The Expanse. Don't worry if it's something like, for example, I don't know what The Expanse is. I do know The Mandalorian, but I'm not a sci-fi reader. And so it can also be a way not only to attract the right people, but to let the people who aren't your target audience know that this isn't for them. Here is a romance, an all-new opposites attract hockey romance. Here's a good thing to keep in mind. You've got the kind of man chest cover, and some authors find a hard time promoting these real steamy covers with Amazon ads and sometimes Facebook ads, and Bookbub is more accepting, so that's something to keep in mind. They keep it real simple. I like that they've got the border around here. That is, a way to make it just kind of pop out. And yeah, like I said, a really good option for if you write the kind of books where your covers might not pass Amazon or Facebook's approval process. Here we go, the page-turning new thriller, and they're using the same Bookbub Red, which is kind of a tried and true method of just increasing branding, right? When you get Bookbub's emails, their buttons have this red, the Bookbub logo has this red. It's just a smart way to do it. Read an excerpt is an interesting, I haven't seen that much, and it doesn't look like there was a super high click-through rate from Read an Excerpt, but it looks like it was, just skimming through here, a big enough campaign that they still got lots of clicks. We've got a Grave Hunter again, a good example of not needing the book cover. The one thing you would want to pay attention to is is this text easy to read at a glance? And if it's kind of small, because remember the Bookbub graphics are real small, so you want to make sure the text is super easy to read. This is kind of fun. So this sort of takes the Bookbub template that they've got, but it adds a twist. So the Bookbub template, let me go back up. It looks like this. You've got background, cover on the left, text and button down here. There's a couple other templates you can use, but this is the one that's been around the longest. They do the same template here, but they add a different background. They create a little bit more room for the text. The Bookbub template, it's very limiting in how many characters you can have both for your text and your button. So I like how they took the template that readers recognize and kind of trust by now, but gave it its own spin that also allows for more room here. And you can see what I like too about this is the text really does stand out. This is, I'm sure, going to have a super high click-through rate because of this big old free and this idea of the box set. Books 1 through 4 is 99 cents. So this is cute. It's simple. Having the really big 99-cent button is for sure going to appeal to Bookbub readers who are always looking for great deals. And these last two are really good reminders that Bookbub readers do love the series. They are very, very voracious readers. So I hope that gave you some ideas. If you ever just feel kind of stuck, you're welcome to just highlight or run to the Bookbub Partners blog and search for some of them. They put out articles like this several times a year of just what's working, and they share things like which ones get really good click-through rates, and that can give you some ideas for making your own creatives.